Hello, and welcome to the official director's commentary of 1 in 10,000 Act 1. So, we are going to be watching this as it goes, watching it live, and I'm going to be pausing here and there if anything strikes me, if I remember anything from set, and just give you an overall general idea on the production and what went into making this. Just for a little background, I shot this in Korea, in Seoul, at the end of January of 2018. We shot this all in 1 week, and it was intense. It was crazy. We barely slept. And we shot this in blistering Korean weather, sometimes through almost a blizzard type weather. And it's prevalent in some of the shots, but we'll get into all of that. Anyways, if you're watching this early, you might have purchased the video on demand version, which thank you for supporting me. All that money is going to be going towards my next short film. I want to go crazier. I want to go bigger. So that requires money. So yeah, if you are supporting that, thank you very much. But let's get into this.
사실은 너 되게 많이 좋아해. 내 마음 받아줄래?
벌써 얼마나 됐지? 우리 둘의 인연? 우린
Alright, that opening. I don't know if most people caught it, but pay attention to that opening, because even the opening going forward, this opening is actually very important. It is mirrored in Act 2, and then it is shown at the end of Act 3. So actually the original concept going into this was Act 1 was going to be from one person's perspective. Act 2 was going to be from another person's perspective. Act 3 was going to be from like a neutral perspective. It was a better idea when... it was an idea, this was always going to be, this was, it was a better idea when, it's a better idea if it's a guy and a girl couple, because then Act 1 would be her, Act 2 would be him, and then Act 3 would be them, or us, and I thought that would be powerful, but I was hell-bent set on making this a same-sex couple, so that wouldn't have worked. So even though that whole us-them thing didn't come to fruition, the dialogue here is still very important. Even though it's not phrased that way, Act 1 is very much from sort of Eunha's perspective. And then Act 2 is very much from Ara's perspective. And Part 3 is definitely more of a neutral ground. But yeah. Just keep that in mind.
얘기도 안 하는데.
In fact, it's the same dialogue here, but it's just kind of flipped. It's like she says,
하지만
"We don't even talk," and then in Act 2, Ara says,
나는
"We used to never talk," something like that.
우리 둘의 사이에 뭔가 있다고 믿어. 그래서
I love this shot.
진짜
The one in the subway.
고백한다고 혼자 약속했어.
I'm actually not a fan of this scene, this confession scene, because we really wanted to shoot it at a school, and it was winter break, so all the schools were closed, and we couldn't shoot at a school. And I don't know, it's just, it kind of bothered me that we had to kind of shoot in a park.
그래서 나보고 어떡하라고?
The tone for that was supposed to be very different originally. I originally imagined it very almost tsundere-like, She's like, so what do you want me to do about it? And then her reaction was supposed to be more comical, like oh my god, I've been rejected, that changed after discussing it with the cast, going through rehearsals. It didn't work. It didn't fit the vibe anymore. And it made more sense to kind of make it more emotional. So this scene is very different because, again, we were supposed to do it at a school. Also, actually, no, that's not what's different about this scene. There's a scene missing because we forgot to shoot it. After that whole thing, so previously, before this shot was a shot of like a school, right here, like an establishing shot. Let's rewind a little. So it's supposed to like be a school. This is actually just an apartment building. But after this, Ara is supposed to find Eunha crying somewhere after school. So there's supposed to be like a bell ringing, and it's implied that they're getting out of school. And she finds Eunha crying, and she feels bad. She's just like, follow me. And then Eunha looks confused, and then she follows her. And then they wind up at the grocery store. But we forgot to shoot that scene. But I think the flow of it still works. Those are fake footsteps, by the way. We also got to... Hold on. A lot of people noticed. That's not her voice. It's not. It's me. We forgot to record her audio for that. So there's no audio of her saying that. And I was premiering this at KCON. So like it was like I was on a deadline and I could not find a Korean person, Korean female who could emulate her voice well. So I was just like, fuck it. Okay. So immediately, here's the big thing about this. This part is completely in the wrong location. This was originally supposed to be under the main bridge in Seoul, and it's this cool shot. We actually shot there. We shot half of this scene there. It's this cool shot because under the bridge, it's like all the river, and then they're by the river, and the pillars that hold the bridge up, they all go straight down a line, and it's like this mesmerizing kind of like eye-catching visual shot. It looks amazing. And it's why I think Act 1 is actually probably, I think, visually the worst shot one out of all of them, even though we shot them at the same time. Because we were shooting Act 1, and it was so cold, the actors could not go on any further. Like, legitimately. Like, their noses were sticking. Like, it was the coldest day that we were shooting, and their noses were becoming visibly red. It was just impossible to excuse it on camera. Like, they looked like they were freezing, and they themselves couldn't focus, they couldn't act well because of how cold it was. And so we had to cancel the shoot midway, and we gave them a break. And I was in panic mode, and I found this place, which is at a university somewhere in Korea. It's called, I think, the Resting Hole, something like that. It's also a nice architectural place, but it's certainly not as mesmerizing, and I wanted to avoid it because it's an indoor area. So as you can see here with Eunha's shot, the outside is like completely overexposed because I had to brighten up the camera settings because we're indoors. The bridge place, it was a lot more evenly lit, but yeah. So this is a completely different last location, and that's why I had storyboarded everything around the bridge location. And so that's why a lot of the shots here are, I don't know, it's like, I feel like this isn't my best.
안 돼. 아직 내 마음 안 받아줬잖아. 그러니까.
You see a lot more stationary shots too. You see that a lot of these shots don't move.
너가 만들었어?
In the other acts, there's a lot more movement in the shots, and you'll see that.
그리고 내가 너 마음을 안 받아준 게 아니라 너가 먼저 도망갔잖아. 그럼 내 마음 받아줄 거야? 아니.
The actress Seung-ah, who plays Ara, she looks so good with her hair tied. Very few people can pull off that high ponytail look, but she looks good. Yeah, I feel like this just isn't as dynamic. I know people liked it, but the original, it was just, I thought it was way cooler.
멋있지? 난 네가 더 멋있는데. 그만해.
So the color grading here is kind of crazy. I went for a very reddish tone, And the reason I had to do that is because it was still fucking cold. This was the next day. And before the previous day was the coldest day, this day was slightly less colder, but it was still pretty fucking cold. And her ears and her nose were very visibly red still. Not as bad as the previous day. And so I had to color correct it where the scene was more red. And it worked out because we're shooting in this resting hole, which is made of wood, and the brown and red spectrum are kind of like very similar. And she's already wearing a red scarf, so it kind of evened out. But you can tell right here, Una, her nose is pink, right?
내가 그렇게 싫은 건데? 아니, 내가 그렇게 못생긴 것도 아니고, 어? 냄새도 안 나고. 잠깐만, 나 냄새나? 너 때문이 아니야. 난 그냥 연애를 안 해.
Also, I was just editing Act 3, so I noticed this.
피곤하니까.
There's a huge gap between Act 1 and Act 3. So the timeline is from Act 1 to Act 2, it's 1 year. And then from Act 2 to Act 3, it's 10 years. So there's an 11-year difference between Act 1 and Act 3. What I love that the actress Seung-ah did is that she changed the way she speaks in every single act. There's an evolution there. Here, she sounds a lot deeper, a lot more closed off, and she sounds a lot tougher. In Act 2, she sounds a lot more relaxed. She sounds a lot more lackadaisical. And in Act 3, she sounds a lot prettier, a lot more mature, a lot more intelligent. And I urge you guys to watch all 3 acts and notice Ara's tone, the way she speaks changes.
연애를 해봐야 뭐해? 아니, 뭐 같이 있으면 좋아하는 사람이니까 좋은 거고. 그리고 또 좋아하면 또 이렇게.
I love that joke.
하지만 연애라는 게 이별로
I mean, I wrote the whole script,
뭐하러
but
하냐고.
I specifically remembered I wanted that joke.
거봐. 연애? 사랑? 그런 거 다 헛소리야. 그럼 소울메이트 안 믿어? 소울메이트? 그게 얼마나 힘든 건 줄 알아? 난 그게 통계적으로 불가능하다고 믿어.
You're gonna hear that word a lot. 통계적. That means statistic.
내가 읽어본 책이 있는데 어떤 과학자가 그러더라고.
By the way, this is a real book. This is a real book. People keep asking me, where did you get the idea for 1 in 10,000? It's because I read an article about this book, about this theory. This is a real theory about soulmates, that it takes at least 10,000 lifetimes realistically to meet your soulmate in one of those lifetimes.
자신의 소울메이트를 만나려면
So basically the entirety of this short,
사람 10,000명 중에 한 명이면
it's almost like I was both Una and
나쁜 것 같진
Ara.
않은데?
I was fighting within my own brain, trying to wrestle with the fact that I
사람이
may
아니라
never find
인생.
my soulmate.
그러니까 만분의 인생을 살아야지만
And the idea, the
자기의
answer
소울메이트를
to
만날 기회가
the
생기는
question
거야.
she asks. She's about to ask it. Hold on.
그러니까 사랑에 무슨 의미가 있냐?
What's the point of love? And the answer that I came up with that is in Act 3, that was genuinely my conclusion. That was generally how I wrestled with this problem.
아 진짜. 아니 그렇다고 다 포기하고 살아가는 것도 아니잖아. 인생에는 숫자랑 통계학만 있는 게 아니야. 모든 게 다 가능하다 너.
So Ara just sort of ignores her. Slap.
야, 방금 내가 너 볼.
Fun fact, the slap sound you hear, it's just me doing this. That's it. I did several. My hand was red, but I needed different tones, and I wanted to hear what sounded the most realistic. Oh god, this is such an unflattering shot to stop on.
때리는 확률은 뭐였냐? 내가 어떻게 알아? 거봐, 상상하지 않았던 일도 일어나잖아. 그렇다고 사람이 얼굴을 때리냐? 그러니까 내가 하고 싶은 말은 걱정 좀 하지 말고 인생을 살아.
Live your life, son. Ignores her again. I like this shot. I wish it was wider, but I was shooting with like an 85mm lens. So I shoot with the white LEDs now. Such good music too. Cheese kick.
방금
Cheese kick.
그 확률은
She kissed.
뭐였냐?
I wanted it to be purposeful because I wanted to tease the audience, waiting for the lips kiss. And they're younger. I wanted it to be more innocent. Ooh, to be continued. And that's music. So people said they didn't like the font for this, where it said 1 in 10,000. I did it purposely. They're young, they're kids, and this is supposed to, like, this is sort of like a cartoony, it looks like someone scribbled it with a crayon look. I wanted it to somehow showcase the innocence and purity of them and their relationship. And going forward, all the different acts, the credit scenes have different fonts for different reflections of what that act was like. Okay, so that is the director's commentary for Act 1 of 1 in 10,000. I'm going to be doing Act 2, so go ahead and check it out in the next video.